as I say, thank you so much for being here. I'm delighted for the opportunity. Thank you, Susanna. And I want to ask you, how many of you right now are excellent at making money on the internet? Right? How many of you are excellent at making money on the internet? Now, I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Most people are going to say they're not, right? But let me ask you a second question. How many of you have bought something on the internet in the last week? Right, that's interesting, right? Most of you have bought something on the internet. So you could have actually answered the first question with a yes. You are actually excellent already at making money on the internet. The only problem is it's for somebody else, right? You're very good at making money on the internet for somebody else. And that's the first thing I want to break down. The first belief that we have around the internet is that, oh, it's difficult, it's so hard to make money, when most people are making money on the internet every single day by purchasing something. So let's remove that thought process of, oh, it's difficult, because if you can press the buy now button, you can also press this for sale button or the sell now button. It's the same transaction. It's just about which side of the transaction are you on. And do you think people are spending more money or less money right now on the internet? I mean, we all know the answer. It's more money. So that's the key thing. If you can spend money on the internet, you can make money on the internet. That's what I want to show you. And the second thing is, don't be put off if you do not like social media. I know many of you do not like social media. In fact, I'm in that camp myself. Even though I've written the books about it, I'm still not the biggest fan of the fact that people spend their days watching other people living their lives rather than just getting on with their own. However, that doesn't mean you can't fall in love with what social media can do for your life. So what today is about is rethinking our pre-framed thoughts around the internet, around social media, and the fact that whatever other people believe should have nothing to do with what you believe. We want to start focusing on what works, what makes us money, so that we can stop wasting time and start making money in an environment that right now is completely different to even how it was just a couple of weeks ago in terms of opportunity. Why? Because of these devices, your phone. Now, I mean, thank you, Susanna, yours is well placed that nobody can miss it. I was going to say right now there's one within 12 inches of everybody right now, and in Susanna's case, it's about only 4 inches away, I would say, right? Why? Why is it so important to bring up this device? Because there are more of these devices on the planet than people. People are absolutely addicted to these devices. They use them to wake them up in the morning. They carry them around with them all day in their handbags, and that's just the men. They bring them with them into the smallest room in their houses where nobody else is allowed to go. Yes, their bathrooms. And at nighttime, remember we used to have this routine of kneeling down beside the bed and saying some prayers at nighttime. That still happens, except when we're kneeling down, it's to do something else. It's to plug in our phone and make sure it's charging for first thing in the morning. We couldn't care less if our partner is charged in the morning, but if our battery on our phone starts off at 12%, we know it's not going to be a good day. And I'm sure you're smiling or laughing at home right now going, oh my God, that's so true. Because we have not even become aware of how normal that it has become that we are attached, addicted to these devices. In fact, there is a thing that psychologists do now where they help people with phone separation anxiety. People would rather lose their purse or their wallet than their phone, because this has become the center point of their lives. Now, let me ask you something. How often when your phone rings or buzzes or beeps or farts, whatever it does, is it you that's contacting you? It's never you, right? It's somebody else looking for your attention. It's either your friends, your family, it's a business or an acquaintance, all looking for either your time, your attention, your focus, your energy, or your money. And that's where everything is going wrong for most people, because they're getting busier and busier and busier because they're getting more and more distracted by other people looking for their attention. And the moment you give your attention to others, you are now not working on your goals. You're working on somebody else's. So that is why most people are addicted, and this is only making things worse. But it's also the reason why you can switch the whole thing around. That when phones are buzzing and ringing or making noise, that it's you looking for other people's attention. So that rather than you being gathered up and spending money on the internet, that you can actually have other people focusing on you and actually you making money from this. Now, don't worry, you might already be thinking, but I don't have anything to sell. I don't have a business. I don't understand any of this. That's what this is about. Okay, so don't Don't think that you need to be particularly smart or that you need to be technically savvy or any of these things, because they are not required. If you can press buttons on the internet to buy something, you can press buttons on the internet to sell something. And that's all you got to tell yourself. So whether you own your own business, hands up if you own your own business, or at least you owned one up until a couple of weeks ago. How many of you are entrepreneurs out there? Well, okay, quite a few of you. Well, my favorite quotation about entrepreneurs is, the only people I know who work 80 hours a week to avoid a 40-hour-a-week job, right? Now, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, you laugh, but that actually hurts, right? It's not what it was expected, right? It wasn't what you thought you were doing. You were going to do it to have more money and more time, and you have exactly the opposite. You have less money and you have less time, right? And you just wonder, why did that happen? And then you look around you at your other business owners and they have the exact same problems. So you think, oh, that's okay, that's normal, right? It doesn't need to be normal. It's normal with traditional business, but it isn't normal with an online business. How many of you want to be an influencer? How many of you are like Susanna? You actually are happy to get out in front of people. You like to talk. You have something to share. You have a vision. You have a mission that you're very comfortable in front of the camera. You're just saying, yeah, just put that camera in front of me. And there's going to be a lot less of you, usually about 20%. Of you crazy people, okay? But you know you need social media, right? So whether you own your business, you know you need it. You probably just haven't got the results you wanted from it so far. But that doesn't mean social media doesn't work. It just means you didn't know how to work it correctly. If you're an influencer, you know social media is the key to unlock your message to the world. Now, perhaps you don't own a business. Perhaps you've no interest in social media and you don't even want to be an influencer. You don't have a message, or you don't believe you have a message right now. And you're actually shy and you don't want anybody to know who you are on social media, but you would like to benefit from making money from this and just make a side income that will take the pressure off financially. But believe it or not, this is absolutely for you also. Why? Think about Facebook, Costa, Starbucks, McDonald's, Google. What do these all have in common? They're brands. They're brands. They're not personalities. There is no individual saying, hey, I bet if I asked you right now, how many of you know who invented Google or who owns Google? You know, most people wouldn't know. You'd have to Google on Google who actually was the founder of Google, right? But whoever it is sitting there with tens of billions of dollars. And it just shows that you do not have to be, he's not posting every morning on Facebook Live, right? He's not looking for quotations, motivational quotations to share. Nobody knows, well, lots of people know who he is, but to understand my point is that he isn't to the forefront. He's hidden in the background. The same with PayPal, the same with Stripe, the same with all these massive organizations. You can, just like that, be hidden in the background. And then maybe later, if you feel confident enough to share your message, you can do that. So regardless of which of these camps you fall into, and it may be more than one camp, this is going to work for you. Now, here's just a little selfie I took earlier of myself, just in case you were wondering. Now, who am I?
That's how Paul looks, guys, in real life. That's how Paul looks. Just
I don't know how you would know that, Susanna, but I'm very fortunate in that I meet the likes of Susanna because of the lifestyle I live nowadays. Well, at least up until a month ago. I get to travel all over the world. I fly over 100 times a year. But let's just be clear. This is not how life always was. I had a job. I worked in a permanent corporate job for 9 years. And everything changed for me, actually, in 2006, when I went on holidays with 3 of my closest friends to Australia and New Zealand. And we went for 6 weeks, right? And we had to obviously all get a loan from the bank to fund that. I had to give a year's notice at my job to take those 6 weeks off. And during those 6 weeks, there was the main thing that happened to me that really gave me this incredible realization was that it took me over 4 weeks being on vacation before I mentally left my job. I had physically left the building. I was tens of thousands of miles away, but mentally I was still thinking about what meetings were on, who was going to be trying to shaft me while I wasn't there to defend myself. And it was almost like, you know, having been released from the Shawshank Redemption, I was institutionalized and I was still thinking like I was in my job. It took until the 5th week to disconnect mentally. And it wasn't just me, my 3 friends went through the exact same process themselves. And we were chatting about it and we asked, why has that happened? Why do we work for 47 weeks of the year, 48 weeks of the year, when we can't even take 4 weeks off together and you can't even disconnect in that time? Because if you looked at it from the outside, you could easily say, well, that's insane. Why would you do that? And the reason we do it is because all of the people we know, the closest people to us, the people we love, the people who we were brought up by, they do exactly the same thing. So we by default start to think that is normal. But the problem with normal is this. If you are surrounded by crazy people and you live in a madhouse, nobody thinks they're crazy, because you measure your level of sanity by the level of craziness around you. And if everyone else is doing the same crazy thing, by default, nobody's crazy. You look at the person who works an extra 20 hours than you, Crazy Joe, who gets no extra overtime, but he's the crazy one because he's working harder than you, and by default, that makes you normal. So what we got to be aware of is we have these preconditioning and these ways of thinking that, and I mean, if you're listening to Robin Banks at all, he talks about this a lot, the thought processes of, the belief systems that we have that are conditioning our results that we see today. And we got to figure out, how do we change all of this? So before we already dismiss the internet, like I did, as we found out this morning, once again, living proof. Secondly, is that I don't like being behind computers. And I always thought if your job was making money on the internet, it would involve being behind a computer all day, which is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to travel, wanted to speak. So I'm not here today to teach you how to get another job for yourself. I'm here to teach you how you learn this and how you outsource this, how you get somebody else to do this for you. You are living in a country where you could comfortably get somebody to work for you. I'm going to use the currency US dollars, because no matter where we are in the world, we can refer to dollars. But you could comfortably find people that will work for you for $3 an hour, who will be delighted to do this for you, because not only are they doing it for you, they're learning a skill that they can use themselves or that they can sell on for more money to do that service for other people. So I'm not here to teach you a job. I'm here to teach you a skill set of how to make money so that anybody can do this for you. So you actually can get out of this and just let the money flow, and you just keep an eye on it and grow as many of these as you wish. Now, I didn't always have this way of thinking that I have today, the rethinking what we were brought up to believe. As I said, I worked in a job for 9 years. Now, it all happened at one specific event that I went to. So it was like back in those days when you could actually go into rooms with other people. Do you remember those days, about 3 weeks ago? Well, back in 2009, after the Australian trip, I was on the lookout from 2006 onwards for, I felt trapped, and I realized that, you know what, things aren't, I don't want to just live an entire year to take 4 weeks off to keep repeating this cycle until I'm 70, right? I don't want to keep my best times until I'm the least mobile I'm going to be. It was like, why can't I do that now, right? And of course, the reason was because nobody else does. That was the constant battle. But I have a picture from an event that I went to in Dublin, Ireland, back in 2009, when I was invited to this event, and it was all these speakers who had made millions of dollars on the internet, right? Well, actually, sorry, that's the wrong picture there. That's for a different event later. Here it is. This is the picture where I'm sitting in a room on a Friday. It was the first day I called in sick in 9 years in my job, and I borrowed my work laptop, which I must give back actually at some point. And I always think I look a little bit like a rabbit in front of the headlights, because I'm looking at all these American speakers who are high school dropouts, who have this common story, this crazy story where basically they were born in a hospital, somehow they got mixed up as babies, and they were sent down this river in a reed basket, but they were rescued by wolves. And fortunately, the wolves helped them grow up for the first 8 years. They set up a little heroin factory in the woods, and a National Geographic camera crew happened to come across them, rescue them, check them into a Betty Ford's detox clinic. And then at age 18, they found Jesus, they found a Wi-Fi connection, and miraculously, they started making money on the internet. And I remember thinking, someone needs to close that hospital, because this just isn't normal. This isn't right. How could all of these people have this crazy story? So it took me quite a while, I have to say, to get into it. I was very skeptical, and you can even see that the other people in the crowd here, there's a lot of arms folded, right? There's a lot of negative body language, because my starting belief was pretty simple. It was that the internet is a scam. This cannot be true. If it was, wouldn't everybody else be doing it, right? That's our default answer to everything. It can't be true, because if it was, everybody else would be doing it. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Isn't it funny why we always focus on people who don't have money when we're trying to justify whether we should do something that will allow us to make more money? we forget that people are naturally lazy. The reason why people don't do things is because sometimes it puts them out of their comfort zone. So if you want to make changes in your financial situation, stop comparing yourself to what broke people are doing and start comparing yourself to what wealthy people are doing. Model yourself on the wealthy rather than the broke, because if you get free advice around money, the advice you're getting is worth every penny you paid, right? It's always the people who have the biggest opinions around money are the people that always have a plan for your money, right? So just be aware of that. If we want to get different results, we don't model the people without money. We have to start modeling the people with money. So the interesting thing for me was this. One speaker came up and he said, turn to the person next to you, point at them and tell them they're awesome. Now, we're Irish. We're like the most skeptical, cynical people in the world. Like, he actually thought we were going to do that. I'm like, my God, I think he's serious. I thought he was joking, but actually I think he was serious. Then the next speaker was even worse. He said, stand up, turn to your partner and massage their shoulders. Now, this was before coronavirus, right? But we've been doing social distancing long before coronavirus in Ireland. We don't hug our own family members, let alone touching strangers. We don't drink because we enjoy it. We drink because we need to procreate. We need to keep the next generation going, right? So it was not going down very well, let's just say, with the Irish audience, because I remember turning to the person next to me and said, this is a scam, right? He said, obviously it's a scam. I said, okay, thank you, stranger, for confirming, because that looked like a lot of proof that he had. I said, but thank you for confirming what I thought. So, I was coming from that place. And then the third speaker came up and he clearly had been watching what was going on, and he picked up on the body language, he picked up on the negativity, and he said, you guys think you're so smart. You think you've got it all figured out. And he said, let me explain. He said, you are brainwashed. And I remember thinking, oh yeah, really? Like, you're the person coming here to brainwash us. He said, you're brainwashed because you believe that wealth is connected to the number of letters that appear after your name. You believe that your wealth is connected to the number of letters after your name. And he explained what he meant. He meant you believe that wealth is connected to the qualifications that you're going to get in college. He said, in fact, you spend the first 20 to 22 years of your life focusing on getting letters after your name. That is your parents' only objective, is to get you with letters after your name so that you can go and join the system. And he said, I found that a better measure of wealth is not so much letters after your name, but numbers in my bank account. And I remember thinking, this guy's an asshole. I didn't like him to begin with. Now I'm sure I don't like him, right? Because when you hear the truth, it really hurts sometimes. And he said, you could go, you check your bank accounts and you check, do the qualifications that you have equate to what you think you're worth? And of course, that's exactly what I needed to hear, but I didn't expect to hear it in such a way, because my entire life, if I wasn't making enough money, which was always the case, it meant that I needed to go back and get another qualification. I needed the next exam that I needed to do. And of course, everyone around me, that was their justification also. So, but as Einstein says, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But that's what most people do. We do the same thing repeatedly, waiting for something different to happen. That's why I'm congratulate you on being here today, because you're about to learn something new. You're going to learn something that's going to bring you to the edge of your comfort zone. But if you want to get into a new financial zone, you're going to need to step out of that comfort zone. You need to learn new skills to get new results, okay? So now remember, the internet's a scam, but if we look at the wealthiest people in the world, the wealthiest person in the world owns a bookshop that happens to be on the internet, right? And if you actually look at the top 20 to the top 50 people on the wealthy list, the world wealthy list, most of their income is generated through the internet. Maybe, just maybe, that might be a hint that maybe the internet isn't a scam all along. It just depends on who we're listening to. Now, just in case you feel like I don't have the credentials of these experts who have the crazy stories, let me I've embellished my story just a little bit, just so it doesn't seem as boring. So this is where I'm from. This is Limerick in Ireland. This is the castle. Well, actually, it was the grass. This is the grassy place where the wolves raised me beside the river. Fortunately now, of course, I own the castle. That's where all my Lamborghinis are parked outside. And then I was rescued by a camera crew. But fortunately, that's me. No need to laugh. That's actually me as a 7-year-old back in the 80s. And you might wonder, you go, oh, wow, time hasn't been kind to him. And you're not wrong, but you might be wondering what happened. What do you think happened? I'm Irish. Alcohol happened, of course, right? Now, you've probably heard the advice before of following your passion. Now, if you're Irish and you do this, this is where you spend most of your teens. So there's my home in the 90s, but I got lucky because one day by my trolley, somebody happened to leave a laptop that they didn't need with a Wi-Fi connection, and I went on to make millions on the internet. Now, hopefully that sounds good to you, but none of that is true, right? None of that is true whatsoever. Both my parents, both are teachers. Now, is anybody at home listening today that has that same blessing? That both your parents are teachers? Because it's a bit of an anomaly. There are some. Okay, well, congratulations on watching, because you had some chance when you went to school and your parents weren't teachers. But as I was running home from school every day, getting closer to home, and like, what's the point? What's the point in rushing home? There's more teachers at home, right? Everything was about exams, homework, study, that this somehow was connected to wealth, right? But as the speaker said in Dublin in 2009, he said, I'll prove to you that money isn't connected to exams. He said, what happens when you're a professor? What mode of transport do you use to get to school, to get to work? You use a bicycle. He said, I've got 2 Lamborghinis. And he said, what happens when you get to the peak of your qualification? You drop all of the letters. When you go past doctorship and professorship, you lose all of the letters. That is the peak of education, is you go back to no letters. I want to save you tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of rands, because you don't need those letters in the first place, because it's got nothing to do with how you're going to end up financially. It might have 40 years ago, even 30 years ago, but today, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you learned in college. Why? Because what you started learning in year 1 is completely out of date by year 4. It's completely out of date. People that start PhDs in a topic of expertise, by the time they qualify, it's out of date. Technology has completely taken over and changed so much that what we learn in that format is no longer that what's going to, it might be interesting, but it's not going to make us wealthy for sure. So I went and got a job, worked for 9 years. Everything changed for me in this one event over 3 days. And I hope today becomes a tipping point for you. And in fact, take a selfie today, right now, with me, Susanna, and yourself at home watching this, because you will be so happy you took that picture, because you will say, that was a tipping point for me. That was the day that I had this realization that I was the victim, that everything was happening to me, that the problems were out there with the economy and I was a victim of it. You know what? You can believe that all you want, but the moment you take responsibility and say, well, why did I set this up, that I am getting pounded because of the economy? It's my fault. It's due to me not learning. It's due to me not having the skills. So the good news about taking responsibility is that you're one step away from taking responsibility and saying, you know what, enough is enough. I'm going to stop pointing the fingers at others, because every time you point the finger at somebody else, 3 fingers are pointing back at you, right? So it's time for us to take a responsibility. It happened for me in February 2009. It's happening for you on the 9th of April. Oh, it's my brother's birthday today. The 9th of April, 2020. And you have Susanna to thank for that. So I hope you're at home. Give her a virtual round of applause, because Susanna has set this up for you guys, that all you got to do is make the commitment that I'm going to do this and I'm not going to stop until I'm successful. Because if this isn't your plan A, please tell me what your plan B is, because there is nothing better than learning how to give people what they want from the convenience of their own home. Think about it, because that's never going to stop working. Now, I did have an engagement with Tony Robbins, which you'd expect from most speakers, which normally happens. He has a part, it seems, to play in everybody's success story. And sure enough, he did for me too. I'll very quickly explain it. So when at that event in Dublin, in Ireland, I invested in 3 programs. Now, this was totally against what I would normally do. I bought 3 programs about how to make money on the internet. I stuck it on my credit card. I didn't have the money for it, but I said, look, what's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is that I don't use this. But I'm not learning a skill that is reliant on the economy. I'm not learning a skill that's reliant on the property market. I'm not relying on the skill that's reliant on what's going on in the stock markets. I'm learning how to sell in good times and bad times. It's irrelevant. So I bought these 3 courses. I went to 3 workshops. And in each of these workshops, people were constantly ranting on about this guy, Tony Robbins, Tony Robbins, Tony Robbins. So I said, okay, I'm going to see, can I convince my boss to pay for me to go to see Tony Robbins? Now, he hadn't heard of Tony Robbins either, but he paid for it as my boss. He was a great boss. He didn't realize it was in New York City on St. Patrick's weekend. I mean, doesn't get much better for an Irish person. So I had an all-inclusive trip, paid to New York, March 17, 2009. And I was thinking, well, how could this possibly go wrong? So we went to the event. There were 3,000 New Yorkers at it. And I'd never seen Tony on stage before. And suddenly everything kind of changed in that I was very excited. Suddenly Tony comes out and he says, everybody, I want you to jump around like complete lunatics. And to my absolute dismay, 2,995 people, that's all they needed. They started jumping around like complete lunatics. Now, I just started backing out to find the closest exit. And you could not make this stuff up. I bumped into a guy who was also Irish. He had red hair and freckles. He had to be Irish. We were probably related, actually, if we started talking about it. But he looked at me and went, what the I said, look, before you say anything, I just want you to know that I didn't use my money to be here. He said, forget the money. Forget the money. I've already written that off. He said, I've seen this on the Discovery Channel. This is a cult. This is a cult. I know how we're going to walk across the fire tonight and not get injured. We're going to drink suicide tablets and they're going to drag the bodies across the fire to burn the evidence. I get it. I know what's happening. I said, you know what? You might have a point. And while there was a couple of Germans there as well in the corner saying, what is this? Right? So there was the Germans and the Irish, the most skeptical people in the world in the corner. And then Tony says, oh, by the way, those of you not dancing, you're walking on fire tonight. If you don't do everything I say, you're going to burn. I said, well, why didn't you say so, Tony? So off I went, jumping around the room. And this is from their official website. Look who's jumping up and down at the front of the room saying, touch me, Tony, please, touch me. And we touched. Oh, we touched. He touched me in places that I'm not even allowed to talk about anymore because you misinterpret it. But I felt that we had some sort of a special connection, me and Tony. Don't know exactly what it was. My leprosy was instantly cured. And sure enough, what did I do? I texted my boss. I told him that his services would no longer be required. He said, I'm sorry, what now? Is this the event that I've paid for you to go to improve your leadership skills? I said, yeah, that's the very one. So 4 weeks later, in the heart of the recession in 2009, I left my job because I was going to go live with passion. And I was going to go fake it till you make it. But it turns out there's nothing worse than an Irish person at a motivational event, because lock the doors, we'll eventually get hyped up, right? We'll get motivated like everybody else, but we hate sales. We hate anything to do with spending money. So I totally dismissed the part of that Tony said, which was, right, now that you're enthusiastic, now that you're energized, you need to take that energy and channel it into a skill that somebody that can coach you in. Find somebody who's got the expertise that you want and pay them to teach you. And I remember thinking, nah, that sounds a bit too salesy for me. I'm just going to go with the fake it till you make it. And sure enough, that strategy did not work out. 3 months after quitting my job, I had lost all my money on the stock market because I was attracted to the shiny lights of, well, it's either going up or down. So I've got a 1 in 2 chance of getting it right. Turns out I was wrong, right? So that was when I went back I didn't want to go back to my job because I was judging, telling everybody they were losers for staying in their jobs and all this kind of stuff. You're all working for the man. And then I realized, hang on a second, I have failed at this. So the only thing I could go back and do, and this is why I'm telling you this story, because this could be exactly where you are in your life right now. I didn't have money to invest in property. I didn't have money now to invest in the stock market, but I had the knowledge of how to grow an internet business. And once you learn how to do it, it costs so little money. You could literally set up and run an entire internet business for $50 a month. Now, I know some of you will think, I don't have that. Stop already hamstringing yourself and stop putting all of these belief systems in place. Of course you do. Of course you can find that. To run any type of business will normally cost you up to tens of thousands of dollars a month. To start a business for $50 a month, think about it, right? It's incredible that that is possible in today's world, and it is. It just because you don't know how doesn't mean that it can't happen, and that's what I want to show you, how to do that. So I got fortunate in that, I followed the processes. Within 4 months, I was making $10,000 a month. Then that doubled the next month. That doubled again the next month. That doubled again the next month. Soon I was making $80,000 a month, which was more than what I would have made in 2 years in my job. And even still, I felt like I'd taken a big risk leaving my job, because you don't change your BS overnight. And what does BS stand for? Right? Don't say out loud what you're thinking, Susanna. It's belief systems, right? Belief systems. Your belief systems are with you since you were a child, right? Remember your parents told you about that money doesn't grow on trees. And then you grow up and you realize that paper literally grows on trees, that money actually grows on trees. They were lying. They also told you that Santa existed, but they remembered to come back and tell you about that. But they didn't tell you about all these other things, that money doesn't grow on trees. Yes, it does actually. That it's better to give than to receive. Says who? Says the person doing all of the receiving, right? It's not better to give than to receive. It's an equal and opposite transaction, right? So we're conditioned in so many ways that wealth is bad, being broke is good. In fact, from the standard religions that a lot of us grow up with, you're told that a camel has the better chance of getting through the eye of a needle than a rich person into the kingdom of heaven. Now there's some pretty strong conditioning going into you as a child, that if you're rich, you'll be eternally damned, right? Right? And all these things that we're brought up to believe, and no one ever went back to say, hang on, no, that was just a metaphor. Like, that's not exactly what they're saying there, right? But thankfully today, the wealthiest people in the world are setting brand new examples, that being rich doesn't mean you were mean. Being rich nowadays means that you help the most people possible. We look at Jack Dorsey, who's literally there in the top left-hand corner with me. He donated $1 billion yesterday to helping find a solution for COVID-19. $1 billion. Yeah. You've got Warren Buffett. You've got funding the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where they're giving away 95% of all of the wealth they accumulate to advance human causes, right? So now we realize that the wealthier you become, the bigger the impact you can have, the more people you can save from a predestination of poverty by actually using money to make an impact. It's so much more powerful than one person trying to make an impact through their voice. Money talks at the end of the day. And if you have the money to make the change, that's when everything happens very, very quickly. Below there is, any of you, if you've read the book The Secret, that's John Assaraf. I had a call literally with John yesterday. Last night, we're just chatting about the impact of the COVID-19. And here's the thing, all of our businesses have grown in the last few weeks. When everybody else is shrinking, contracting, and getting worried, any of the people I've been talking to who have internet businesses, all of our businesses have grown. In some cases, some of them said their businesses have tripled in the last 2 weeks, right? So that's when you know you're in the right place, and that's when you know you're in the right place right now listening to this. That's Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad. Here's Tony when we met again. Ladies, you've already spotted this. It doesn't take you long, but I'll zoom in so that gents see it. Look at the size of his hand. Now, the first time I got to speak with Tony on stage, I did use Photoshop to maximize the size of mine, but it just, ladies, that isn't real. My hand is not as big as Tony's, as much as I'd like it to be. But the reason I share that with you is because I went from being the person in the audience to being able to share the stage with Tony Robbins multiple times. And it's nothing about being a speaker, and it's nothing about being able to get on a stage. That's not my point. I could have been completely hidden in the background if I wished, right? It's not about that. It's about you using the tools that are available on social media to grow your business or grow your brand. And remember, if you don't have any products or services, relax. Don't think that this hasn't anything to do with you. It absolutely does. And within our first year, myself and my business partner made our first $1 million with no experience on the internet, no experience of social media, but what we got was coaching. We had somebody show us, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And that's what most people need. How did you get good at anything? How did you learn how to walk? How did you learn how to ride a bicycle? You had a coach show you how to do it. You fell down a few times, you got back up. You fell down again, the coach picked you back up and said, until you eventually got it. Thank God you learned how to walk in as a child rather than waiting till your 20s. Because if you tried once in your 20s and you fell down, you say, oh, I tried to walk once, it was too hard, right? So you need to go back to that child that you were once and reinvigorate your soul with saying, hang on a second, just because I do something once and it doesn't get me the result I want, why do we assume that's a failure? Because we are brought up to believe that success and failure are opposites, and that is just not true. Please reframe failure to this. Failure is a prerequisite to success. Failure is a prerequisite to success. Without failure, you cannot succeed. So failure for me is success part 1. Failure number 2 equals success part 2. It has to happen to succeed. If you don't fall down learning how to walk, you're not going to learn how to walk, right? So exactly the same. So what do we do when you're learning how to ride a bike? You put on safety pads, right? So because you know the inevitable is, well, everything's not going to go perfect for a while until I get this. And it's going to be exactly the same for you. You just need to follow this 4-step process. Okay, so here it is. Now, I don't know if you're taking pictures of slides or whatever it is you're doing right now, but if you are, this is a good one to take a picture of, because this is the overall framework that I'm going to be talking through in detail here today, where we start off by picking a niche where you're going to solve one problem to begin with only. Now, we know there are millions of problems out there, but we're going to start with one. Then when we know that, we're going to go to social media and we're going to find people with that problem. Then, ironically, we're going to invite people to leave social media. We're going to ask them for their contact details so we can reach out to them via email as opposed to social media, because social media is very busy. It's a noisy place. So we want to invite them off of there using what's called a squeeze page. So later on in this presentation, I'm going to refer to a squeeze page, and you'll think, oh, what was that again? It's this here where the person can enter their name and their email and click on the submit button. Right? That's what a squeeze page is, where basically you offer something for free in exchange for a person's contact details. And then the money is made in the follow-up and the relationship that you have with those people over time. Okay, so that's what we're going to be walking through. Most of our focus is going to be on step 2, the social media side, because, I mean, this is called the Rethink Social Media Talk. So, but before we go to social media, and this is so critical, you need to make sure you are setting yourself up for success. And you do that by picking a niche where you are guaranteed to make money. Don't make business more difficult than it needs to be. Yes, Susanna.
Sorry, Paul. For those of you listening on Instagram, I am aware that it is going to cut off in 1 minute. Don't worry, I'll go live straight away again. Instagram has an hour-long limit, so it is going to go off, but as soon as it does, I promise I will reload straight away and you guys will be back online with Paul as soon as that happens. All right. Sorry, Paul. Please carry on.
Susanna. Thank you. Give me a chance to drink. That is water, by the way, in case you're asking. Now,
not whiskey.
So finding your niche, what does that even mean? It means before you even start, make sure you're setting yourself up for success. The first way you're doing that is by going onto the internet. So suddenly your chances of success dramatically increase. You reduce and remove all the costs associated with a traditional business like rent, like premises, like getting bank loans, all that disappears. So second thing is, when we are finding your niche, you want to follow what Zig Ziglar's approach to business is, where he says you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. That is so important. Nowhere does it say in there, start your business by giving people what you think they need, right? That is not how business works, successful business. Give people what they want, you'll get anything you want. Or as the Dalai Lama puts it, our prime purpose in this life is to help others. And if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. It comes from a completely different area, spiritual side, but we're all talking about the same thing. Give people what they want. And that is the key to a successful life from a fulfillment perspective and also from a full bank account perspective. So what do people want? There are 3 things worldwide that people want every day of the week. They want more health, they want more wealth, and they want more happiness. These are the addictions of society. These are the best niches to be in and sub-niches of these areas. Now, if you're in business already, by the way, which many of you are, it doesn't mean you change business. It means you connect what you do. Let's say, for example, you sell security services right now, and you're really excited because there's a brand new alarm system or security system, and that's what you tell everybody about. Nobody cares about what model of security system you have. What you need to do is connect how that product is related to protecting the family's health and well-being, how it's there to protect the family's wealth, how it's there to allow their family to feel happier and safer, right? So connect the product to the emotion. And rather than focusing on a product, which is the biggest mistake most business owners make, focus on solutions. Products will come and go, but solutions are generational. Right? People are always looking for solutions to weight loss, solutions to wealth issues, solutions to lack of happiness. But the products will come and go. So this is the second biggest kind of mind shift I want you to have right now is stop focusing on products. Because the minute you're thinking about a product, you are thinking as a consumer. You're thinking about what can I buy? What can I buy? So what can I sell? What can I sell? People are buying benefits. People are buying outcomes. They're not buying the product. They're buying the results they expect from the product. So we need to shift to a broader way of thinking. So the beauty of these niches is people will always want more health, more wealth, more happiness because they're addictive. The healthier you become, the more money you spend in health. The wealthier you become, the more time and money you spend on learning how to grow your wealth. The happier you are, the more time you want to put into maintaining your happiness. There's an entire niche called personal development built around that. So they're addictive. So if you're not tied to a product, but you start to think bigger picture and say, right, I'm providing solutions in the wealth niche or the health niche. There are already millions of products there. Why don't I sell those products? Why do I need to get my ego involved to make me think that only my product will do here? When we all know that's not the case. There's better products out there. There's better services out there. And that will remove the stress that most entrepreneurs have at nighttime when they're up at night thinking, oh my God, what happens if somebody comes out with a better product, a cheaper product? What if somebody disrupts with a new technology? Guess what? All of those things are going to happen. It's a fact. So what do you do with certainty? You act with certainty around certainty. So you put a plan in place to work around that. The next question is, well, why am I reliant on that one product? Now that's a great question. Why does it have to be my product? Correct? It doesn't. So how can I find the best-selling products and only sell those? Now you're asking the types of questions that are going to change your financial life forever. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. So let's start focusing on the bigger picture solutions. Let me give you a real life example. Write this down. The products that will make me wealthy probably don't exist yet. I'd like you to write that down because if you understand this concept, you are going to understand why this is such an amazing business. The products that will make me wealthy probably don't exist yet. So why can I say that so confidently? Well, let's say it takes you 3 months to set this entire thing up. You set up your online business, you set up your social media, you follow my steps, step by step by step, and you decide that your niche is going to be weight loss. So you're up and running by the start of June, July, let's say, June, July framework, and you're in weight loss. Now, what product do you think people are going to want to buy in July with weight loss? Are they going to want to buy the bestseller in 2019 on how to lose weight? Or are they going to want to buy the brand new weight loss product that's just announced in July of 2020? You know the answer because as a consumer, all these answers are simple. You say, yeah, obviously I want the new one. I don't want that old crap, that old way of eating less and exercising more. I want the new way of eating less and exercising more. That's the product I want to buy, the newly branded weight loss product. So this is where all your confidence can suddenly come from. It's like, oh my God, I don't need to worry about coming up with all these ideas and products and prices and all, because other people are already doing that. Why don't I just sell the best-selling products and get out of the way and let the money flow? And if you just grasp that concept today, you are onto a winner because it will completely change your mindset and it will take the pressure off you being at the core of trying to figure everything out, because all you got to get good at is positioning yourself in the middle, right? This is why we use social media. This is the key thing. You are that person in the middle. Now, you don't know who's on the left, who's on the right, but I'm sure you'll agree with me that right now we're living in a society where the planet is gone crazy, right? Where everybody is freaking out, full of panic. And you could have said that at any time, but now we really are, right? So we're being told, well, it's okay because everything's going to change. We all know that everything's going to change. And when I hear that, sometimes it really agitates me because that is not true, right? Now, it's usually used as a positive. But if you're in business, a lot of people perceive that as a negative because they think, well, hang on, I know nothing about the internet. And if everything's going to change, so what's the point in even starting, right? And you can kind of take that negative approach. Well, the good news about this is I've done property investing, I've done stock market investing, I've learned all of those things, but this for me is by far the best skill set you can learn, and here's why. It is based on two foundations that will never change. Now, I know your parents told you that everything changes, but you might just have to have an open mind for a little bit because these two things will never change, and that's the kind of business you want to be in, when there's absolute certainty that the core model that you're basing it on will never change. The first thing that will never change is that people will never stop having problems. That is never going to go away. As long as we are on this planet and as long as we're breathing, we have problems. Think about it. From the moment you woke up this morning, was it, oh, another wonderful day to be alive, right? Or was it, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I need to get to bed earlier. Oh, what are we going to do with the children today? I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. I need to get this in the shops. And it's all a framework around what are the highest priority problems and what do I need to spend my money on today? And that never will stop. And that is the key core fundamental here, is that people will never stop having problems. And that's the person with the green jigsaw puzzle on the left. On the right-hand side are the business owners. 96% of business owners fail in the first 10 years. 85% of solo businesses fail in the first year. 85% of the 15% that make it through year one fail in year two. Think about that. 96% of businesses failing. Why? For many reasons, but primarily business owners love the bits that they love. They hate sales. They hate numbers and accounting. The two most important things in their business, they push out of their way. Oh, sales and numbers, oh, they're not for me. They're my accountants and my salespeople. Is it any wonder that you're doing the doggy paddle just about trying to survive very, very quickly? And you look around and you see all the entrepreneurs around you also struggling. So you believe it's normal, right? You believe it is a grind. You believe it is tough. You need to hustle. You need to work tough, right? You don't, right? But most entrepreneurs get caught in that trap that they feel like if I'm good at this thing, that's what the world wants from me. No, they don't. Running a business is completely different to being good at providing a service. Running a business is about being a leader, a manager, how to hire, how to manage people, how to motivate people, understanding how money works, how profit and loss accounts work, all these things that people just kind of conveniently forget about. And eventually most business owners say, you know what, it was easier having a job, and they give up, right? That's because it's a traditional business. I'm here today not to show you how to have a 96% chance of failure. That's what college is for, right? You can go to college to learn how to do that and get a degree in business and then close your business. Or you can learn how to have a 99% chance of success by positioning yourself in the middle and getting good at one thing. Learn how to match the best product with the people that are looking for it. Right? It's so simple in its concept that most people will say, but hang on a second, if it was that easy, everybody, I heard you, I can even hear it in your thought processes from thousands of miles away, but Paul, if it was that easy, wouldn't everybody else be doing it? Well, let's take a look at some of the fastest growing, most successful companies in the world right now. Uber, the world's largest taxi company, doesn't own any taxis. Facebook, the world's largest content sharer, doesn't create any. Alibaba, the world's largest store, doesn't have any inventory. Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider, doesn't own any real estate. Booking.com, hotels.com, Zhivago.com, they don't own any hotels. Amazon doesn't write a single book. eBay doesn't create a single product. Why would they? Because those things are difficult. These guys are matchmakers on the internet. This is what they do every single day. And you could be making money from any of these products yourself. But of course, sometimes something is so close to our eyes that we don't even see it. For example, banks. What do you think banks do? Why have banks stood the test of time? Because they take money off people who are uncomfortable with it. They queue up in a line and say, could you take this money? I'm afraid that somebody will steal it from me. I say, yeah, no problem. Do I get any interest from it? No, you don't. Okay, you just have it anyway. And the person behind you takes it. The person behind you will take your money and the bank will charge them a fee for taking the money that you just gave to the bank. They're matchmakers, right? So sometimes things are so close, as I say, to where we are that we don't see it for what it is. No, these companies, the fastest growing in the world, do not take traditional risks in business. They're matchmakers. So remember now, the internet's a scam. Even though all these companies are on the internet making vast amounts of money, remember, it's a scam. Now, let me share one thing with you. 1 million, please write this down. 1 million seconds equals 12 days. 1 million seconds equals 12 days. 1 million seconds equals 12 days. 1 billion seconds equals 32.8 years. So 1 million seconds is 12 days. 1 billion seconds is 32.8 years. 1 trillion seconds, 1 trillion seconds is 33,000 years. 33,000 years. So that's to give you an idea of how massive a difference there is between a million and a trillion. If it's seconds we're talking about, it's 12 days versus 33,000 years. This number ahead of you there, if you add 1 trillion to another 600 billion, you get $1.6 trillion. Why am I sharing this number? Because this is the US government's #1 asset. It's outstanding student loan debt. Student loan debt, $1.6 trillion. The only loan you cannot declare bankruptcy on, student loans. Think about this. This is what we are channeling our entire generation through. We say, go to school, do well in exams, go to college, get yourself a degree, and then get yourself a permanent job, which don't exist anymore. Get yourself a student loan. Get yourself a job quickly to get out of the house so you get out of my responsibility. But we are setting our kids up for a life of debt, D-E-B-T, of debt and scarcity. How often do we sit and think about that your 3-year-old child at home is better off financially than your 23-year-old child if you had one, right? It makes no sense that at your moment of birth, you are more financially better off in terms of net worth than you will be as a 21-year-old. It makes no sense. But if enough people do it, we think it's okay because it's normal. So if we think that the internet's a scam, I'm going to say to you, I think we are looking in the wrong direction. I truly do, because a lot of money has been made by a lot of people and people are not getting what they expect, right? They're learning how to get into a cycle of debt and scarcity. Now, it's not about pointing fingers. It's about taking ownership and understanding if we don't rethink the system in your own family situation, you are going to repeat the same problems. And what happens when your child gets to their late 20s? We tell them now it's time to get a mortgage, time to get a house, right? Because that's what societal pressure says. Mortgage comes from the word mortir, which means to die, death, right? That's what the word mortgage means. Now, obviously, if you're a mortgage broker and work for a bank, the word mortgage is much, much better than saying, hey, would you like to buy some debt until death, right? But that's what it means, right? And we get excited when we negotiate longer terms in our mortgages. We get 40 years instead of 30 years because we feel like we're doing the right thing. The average American spends $600,000 in a lifetime just on interest on debt alone, right? So the entire educational system is all set up to drive us deeper and deeper into debt, right? That's the reality, right? And I do need to kind of poke you a little bit to get you charged up here, because if you don't feel a little bit annoyed or antagonized, you won't be able to take action and take ownership and fix this and realize that success in today's world is not what we are setting our kids up for. So we need to change this around, and here is how. Here is the good news. That system, the 4-step system I'm talking about, hinges on just focusing on a simple thing. You decide how much money you want to make, and then you turn that into how many people do you need to help. And technically that means what is the size of your database? How many email addresses do you need to collect? So please write this down. Your income is a direct outcome of the amount of people you help, not the hours you work. Your income is a direct outcome of the amount of people you help, not the hours you work. So think about it. Even today, if your grandkid or your nephew or niece or your child came up to you and you asked them, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, if they say anything like, I want to be a singer, I want to be an actor, I want to own a business, you're going to say, no, little Johnny. No, I don't like those answers. Try again, right? Because we only like to hear, I want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, jobs, all tied into the rat race, all being paid for the hours that you work, right? So our BS, our conditioning is so strong that we really need to start to take a look at this, because this is where everything changes. On average, you make $1 per person per month. $1 per person per month from your list, right? So if you want to make an extra $1,000 a month, your focus would be get a list, an email list of 1,000 people, right, in one specific area. If you want to make $2,000 extra a month, you focus on, not on the money, you focus on the list, 2,000 people. Now, once you've got 2,000 people in your list, you think you're going to stop? Of course not. You're going to say, well, why don't I just keep doing what's happening here? Why don't I build it to 4,000 a month? Why don't I build it to 10,000 a month? And soon you'll see why I can share these incredible success stories of my students, because that's all they've done is they've built their databases, they've built their lists, and the more people you help, the more money you make. So the purpose of social media, quite simply in one slide, is this, is to build your list, not to sell to people. You're not trying to annoy people, which a lot of people do on social media. You move them off social media, move them into your database, and then you help them. You help them for free, and you offer them shortcuts by offering them the best-selling products and services that are available today on 9th of April 2020. So the very best stuff. Doesn't have to be your own. If you have your own, great, but that's just it kind of could be putting your eggs in the one basket. In today's economy, if this is shown as nothing else, and all these people that were being really smart and cynical saying, oh, don't go near the internet's a scam, and suddenly they realized that all of their income was all connected to one source, somebody hiring them in a job. And suddenly if that job goes, you're in big, big trouble. So the biggest risk in today's society is not taking ownership of your own finances, of not building up your own online business and learning how to do it. And the good news is, guys, I'm the product of 2 teachers, so I can teach. I can show people how I can take what people think is difficult and make it really simple. So much so, some of our students are as young as 11 years of age, up into their mid-80s, 85 years young, right? Why? Because this same process works for anybody. All you're doing is learning how to give people who are looking for something what they're looking for, and you get paid a cut every single time. This guy Runa, for example, made $130,000 in 4 hours. $130,000 in 4 hours. Now, he didn't learn this in like an hour training, right? We do these 3-day workshops. Normally we run them in London. We do them in person. Obviously the world has changed dramatically in the last few weeks, but we'll talk about this a little bit later on. But the way I teach is unique in that we don't wait for the workshop for you to learn everything. I teach you straight away. I start teaching straight away. In fact, this group with Susanna, we will be starting on Monday, right? When you decide you want to work and learn from me, we are starting this Monday, so you can change this long before the uncertainty of the coronavirus. Everybody else is sitting around and waiting to see what happens, all waiting for something outside them to impact them. You're going to be taking the control of how you internally can impact your external world, okay? So it's a 3-day workshop. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Janet here. The reason I'm sharing some of these stories is you might think that, oh, you need to be young, you need to be technical, you need to be really good at computers. You don't need any of these things. Janet, with her first ad, spent, trying to think of what it would be in dollars, she spent $11, it was £8, so that's about $11. And in 12 hours, her $11 turned into $1,600 by placing her very first Facebook ad. And you know what she did? If I had time, I'd play the video, but she panicked and she paused it because she said, this can't be legal. You can't make money this quick legally. That just can't be right. Because she made half her monthly salary in literally 12 hours, right? Because she just followed the system. $12, there you go, $12 into $2,100 was what she did in 12 hours. Alison here is 63-year-old grandmother working double shifts in an off-license or bottle shop, I guess you might call it, because she had 3 grandkids in her care. She had no knowledge about the internet, but she said, Paul, I think of it like a cookbook recipe, right? She said, I have all of the ingredients to spend money on the internet, but just like if you have all the ingredients to bake a cake, if you don't know how to mix them in the right order and you don't know how long and what temperature to put it in the oven, it goes in a mess and it comes out a mess. And she said, so I just think about mixing ingredients in the right amount, in the right way, in the right time. And she said, that's exactly what this is. It's like a social media cookbook. She went on to make over $12,000 a month from her online business, right? And that's at 63 years of age. So whatever your excuses are, we need to put them behind us, right? And you can, by the way, I was in Johannesburg. We did an event in last May, and you can ask any of the 500 people that were there, right? It completely shifted the way they think about opportunity on the internet, because it's just a case of, if you believe this, if someone else can do it, then so can I. And as I said earlier, if you can press buttons on the internet to make money, to spend money, you can press the same buttons on the internet to make money. Now, I would advise you take a picture of this, because this is what's covered in the 3 days and the 9 areas that we cover that ultimately all focus on how you can make more money. All right, so take a picture of that. Now, again, I want to remind you, you do not need to have your own products. You do not need to have your own business. If you do, great, but you don't need it. In fact, I pick your niche for you. On Monday, I pick your niche if you're not sure. We even tell you what products to pick. We make this so simple. It's foolproof, right? We just literally follow the steps, step by step by step. And if your excuse was, oh, I don't have enough time, that has pretty much disappeared for most people right now, okay? So now is this unique opportunity that's never been, like literally has never been around before. There's suddenly the entire world is paused. We've pressed the pause button. So we can sit there and panic and watch the number count and the news all day as most people are doing, or we can switch that off, turn on the computer and start focusing on how do we take this opportunity to set up financial security for the rest of our lives. And as I said, you need 4 things. Pick a niche, which we'll do together, and then find the right people. Number 2, we're going to build a database. Number 3, we want to automate this process. We're going to get the whole thing automated so that we don't have to get up in the middle of the night. We just set and forget. Set it up, monitor it, but this isn't a new job, as I said. We want to hand it over for somebody else to do. And the most important thing of all is getting support. You have to get your hand held through the process. If it doesn't work for you in the beginning, you're obviously going to want help to get that fixed. If it's working for you from the beginning, which is more than likely, you'll want to know, how do I move faster? How do I get results faster? Coaching is the key. That's the most critical thing to understand, is you need to get shown by people who know how to do this, and stop listening to people who don't know how to do this. Because if you don't replace the negativity with confidence and positivity from somebody else, you're going to naturally always be drawn back to that person who's around you, who's dragging you down. And I work with companies like Booking.com, Johnson & Johnson, big multi-billion-dollar companies. And what's crazy about this is, when you learn this, you'll have so many different ways of making money. Like I started in 2009. You are learning the most sought after business skill in the world right now. Not social media, but how to make money from it. There's a huge difference. When I started, I was charging $30 an hour for my time. Now this is actually out of date. It's now $100,000 for one-to-one mentoring with me, and it's closed. It's closed for the next 20 months. It's completely booked out because I assign 2 days per month to do one-to-one work with clients. And since I have a family, etc., and 2 young daughters, your perspective completely changes when money isn't an issue. Suddenly it's about time and about, well, hang on, you can keep chasing money forever and ever, but why are you doing it if you're not going to enjoy living now? So you do need to put in a few months of learning this and implementing this. But imagine, what else could you learn? What other skill set could you focus on where you can have that much more value to you and to the rest of society than learning these skills? Because if, no matter who you speak to, whether they're an employee, an employer, a business owner, an entrepreneur, they all need to learn how to make social media work better. They all need it for their own reasons. So, and everybody gets it, but they don't get how it works. So let me explain how it works, and then I'll jump into how I can help you guys moving forward. Hopefully you've heard of Google before. If you haven't, this may not be for you, right? To be honest, if you've never heard of Google, I don't know if this will work. It's unlikely that you haven't if you've made it onto this call right now. But we go to Google with a problem, and we type in the problem like, I want to lose weight. And what do we get? Websites selling us stuff. And we've become very accustomed to that. It's normal. We go, yeah, that's how it works. Well, what if I could show you a free tool, a free social network, in fact, that when you typed in the problem, it didn't give you companies trying to sell you stuff. It gave you a list of people who just said they had that problem. Might that change your dynamic in terms of your business, in terms of your world? If you type in a problem and suddenly you get a list of people who have that problem, right? It almost sounds too good to be true. Anytime you hear that, oh, it's too good to be true, it probably is. Well, hold that thought for a second, because welcome to the world of Twitter, which is the one that most people will think has no relevance to business. I'm going to spend time on Twitter. I teach all of the other ones. We teach Instagram, we teach Facebook, we teach LinkedIn, we teach YouTube, we teach blogging. But I'm going to show you with this one, because this is the one that people feel is the least likely to have a benefit to business. Because when I can convince you with Twitter, then you realize, oh, wow, okay, maybe I misjudged social media just a little bit. And you would be right, because if you type in exactly the same thing here, I want to lose weight, look what shows up. People like Carla, who says straight and to the point, I want to lose weight. Linda, I'm watching the meerkat manner. I want the same metabolism as a meerkat. They lose 5% of their body weight overnight and need to eat lots. Caitlin, there, in case you thought you'd learned nothing today. Caitlin, I only want 2 things, to lose weight and to eat. Denise, I only want 2 things in life, to lose weight and to eat. And if you scroll down, there are hundreds more all I want in life is to lose weight and gain money. Yet instead, here I am gaining weight and losing money. Trying to lose weight is so hard. All I want is tacos, pizzas, burritos, and chips. I want to lose weight, but I keep eating at midnight. I need to lose weight, grow out my hair, and start wearing dresses. I just want to be pretty. I want people to see me as attractive. That one is particularly poignant because it points out loud and clear that people here are desperate. They're willing to share with 250 million strangers what their biggest problems are. Now, if you were left alone with your friend in a coffee shop with this printed out, you would laugh out loud and say, that's why I don't use Twitter, because it's full of mental people. It's full of mental people saying they need to lose weight. Anytime you think that, you are now thinking like a broke person, unfortunately. You're thinking how everybody else thinks. You're thinking like the normal people. You have to think differently. You have to rethink and say, hang on a second. If these people are willing to share the fact that they need to lose weight with millions of strangers, maybe they're ready to do something about that. And how can I help them? Now, you'll naturally then think, well, I don't know anything about weight loss. I don't have weight loss products. But you've heard of Weight Watchers, right? You've heard of all of the biggest companies in the world that help people lose weight. You can sign up to Weight Watchers or any of these types of companies completely for free, and they will allow you to promote their products, and you get paid a commission. Think about that, right? You do not have to come up with the ideas, with the products. You just connect the best-selling product on Weight Watchers to the people that are crying out for help. And there are thousands of people. And this is just by typing in weight loss. You can type in anything you like. What is Bitcoin? How do I trade the stock market? I'm looking for a property to rent in wherever it is. How do I write a book? How do I work on my mindset? How do I find a more fulfilling relationship? How do I find my soulmate? How do I keep my soulmate? How do I get my ex back? Whatever it is, how do I stop losing my hair? All these problems that people have, the solution already exists. You don't have to create it. You just connect people to the best-selling products that are out there. Now, my question, if I was you, would be, am I a little bit late? Because Twitter's been around quite a while. Well, you couldn't be starting at a better time. Why? Let's take the example of Tony Robbins we talked about earlier. He's got 3 million followers. When you learn how to use Twitter advertising, you can actually take advantage of the fact that others have been doing this for years and it will benefit you. So it's not actually a negative, it's a positive. So earlier today, I said I'm going to use the language of squeeze page, and I showed you the example where you may enter your name and email and press submit. So here with Twitter ads, it says website clicks. So don't get put off by website. By website, we mean a squeeze page, a simple one page, enter your details, press submit, which takes just a few minutes to create. So you tell Twitter who you want to see that page, who you want to click on that free gift. Or even better, it says conversions. What does conversion mean? Conversion means you only pay for the person's email address. So literally, you get the email address first, then you pay Twitter. Or what if you were sending them to a sales page? Let's say you were actually selling something on the internet. A conversion then would be a sale. That means you only pay for the client after they've paid you. Now, if you were in business, your mind is probably exploding right now because you will say, that doesn't sound like normal business. Normally, I spend money hoping to acquire a client. In this environment, you spend money only after you get the client, right? So what my accountant says, Ralph, he says, Paul, you don't teach business, you teach magic. He said, that's not normal business. But who wants to teach normal business when you have a 96% chance of failure, right? We got to learn how to do things in the modern age in a way where you eliminate the risk, where you test up front, where you fail instantly. You figure out how this doesn't work in 2 days. If that was a business, it might have taken you 2 years traditionally. You can put any idea in front of any person in the world on Facebook within 2 days and find out if it's a good idea or not. See, does it sell or not? And you can just put it on pre-order, right? So this is so good, this should be illegal. This is incredible. Look at this, right? You can choose this option where it says add followers. And what that means is you can choose someone like Tony Robbins. They not only will put your message in front of his 3 million followers, they have something called follower lookalikes. So people that are similar to those 3 million people, in this case, they have 46 million. So you could get your message in front of 46 million lookalike Tony Robbins followers. So what do you think you would sell to those people? I'm going to give you a clue. Not your stuff. right? I don't care who you are or how good you are. Nobody cares, right? They care about Tony. So you sell Tony's stuff to Tony's people, Tony's books to Tony's people, Tony's video courses to Tony's people, Tony's events to Tony's people. Tickets for Tony's events, minimum $1,000. You let people know about his next live events, you get a commission of $300 for the cheapest ticket. In other words, Tony Robbins becomes your employee. He's working for you. And then some people say, oh my God, but will he get upset? How would he get upset? You are making him more money and you are making more money. Everybody wins. If you're thinking about writing a book, forget it. Nobody wants to read it, right? You've got all these books at home that you bought and you haven't read. Why don't you just sell Harry Potter books to people who follow J.K. Rowling, or Richard Branson books to people who follow Richard Branson? Give people what they want. Stop overthinking it. Stop letting your ego get in the way. Give them what they want and get the money in. And yes, absolutely focus on your hobbies later, but take the pressure off financially by letting people get in touch with what they want. And this is, I mean, Pay and Go or any of those places that you have in South Africa where the shops, right? All the products in there are other brands. They're other brands. They don't try and brand their own stuff and sell it. 95% of the products in the stores and supermarkets are brands you already know and trust. And that's exactly the same model in real life. So what I want you to do is actually put your hand up if you think I might just be able to help you a little bit, help your financial problem. Give us a yes, or put your hand up or a thumbs up. Okay, fantastic, right? And think about if your business isn't doing this, right? You know, you're going to be so far left behind. You need to think it from both sides. If I don't do this, I'm stuck. My misery will be compounded. I didn't even realize there was so much opportunity. So now I feel more depressed that I'm not taking advantage of it. Or you flip it around and say, oh my good Lord, where has this guy been my whole life? I need to start doing this straight away. And by the way, this gets better and better and better. What if you only wanted to get in front of wealthy people? Well, you can target people based on their credit worthiness. Excellent. 11.6 million people with an excellent credit history. This is just in the US. You can do it for different countries. When you run out of them, 6.2 million with very good credit history. You can target people based by their net worth. 100K to 1 million, 1.8 million. 1 million to 2 million, 1.03 million people. You can target people better based on the value of their home, the number of investments that they have, the types of credit cards that they have, the type of pets that they have. You can target people based on how affluent they are, how much discretionary money do they have left at the end of the month. Ladies, if you learn nothing else today, affluent single men, 768,000 in the US alone, right? You can close your Tinder accounts and you can focus on Twitter alone. No more swipe left, swipe right. Focus on Twitter. Now, if you're sitting there asking, how do they know this stuff? How do they know it? You are asking the wrong question. It's like asking, how does this Zoom stuff work that I see this guy in Ireland? And you know what? I'm not going to do anything until I figure out how that is happening. Stop asking the questions that send you off in this spiral of getting nowhere. The question you should be asking is, oh my God, where has this guy been my whole life? And how do I start implementing this straight away in my business or my brand new business that you're about to create, right? It's incredible what we can get in front of. But remember now, the internet is we'll come back to that in a moment. Facebook, there's even more options. You can target people based. Now, most of you understand Facebook a bit better, but I said I'd convince you with Twitter, right? But with Facebook, for example, you can target people who've clicked on the button shop now in the past week. 384 million people who have pressed shop now in the last week. So you're either just listening to this as an education or you're deciding this is what's going to change my financial situation forever. I got to get on top of this. I got to learn this because this is where it's at. So you can target people based on how wealthy they are. Facebook make it so easy now for people to enter their names and email addresses that they don't even need to type them in. You can click on the button twice where it says here, learn more. Facebook enter the details for the person automatically. So 2 clicks equals $1 per person per month for you 24/7, right? This thing works around the clock for you. That ad, by the way, is called the lead generation ad in case you're already running Facebook ads. Lead generation. And the price of ads in 2019, here's the crazy thing. Right now, ads are cheaper than they were in 2019. Because of the coronavirus, businesses panic. They stop spending on marketing. They stop spending on sales. The two things that will give them a chance of getting more money and they stop doing. Why? Because their friends stop doing it. They're constantly comparing themselves to people without money. You've got to look at what the wealthy are doing in times of crisis. They put more money into marketing, more money into sales, and ads are cheaper in the last 2 weeks than they've been in years. So you genuinely could not be learning at a better time, because ads have not been cheaper for about 3 years. So what a break, what a chance to get in and get started at a time when you'll even spend less to get better results. Now, I do have Twitter and Facebook ads training online. I'm sure some of you are already Googling me. You can find them online. It's 70, but the numbers look strange because it's converted from pounds sterling, but it works out around 75,000 rand. And that is available, where I go through my entire ads training on Facebook and Twitter. Instagram, in case, like I said, I'm going to show you Twitter as one example, but Instagram, Jake, one of my coaches, he made over $20,000 in a single hour from Instagram. He got over 10,000 followers in 30 days. Facebook Messenger, I'm sure you're using that, as our 1.2 billion users. Vishal, one of my students, has made over $55,000 in 3 hours with Facebook Messenger, right? So again, the opportunities are incredible, but you need to learn them. You need to grasp the opportunity and just follow the process. Usually the excuse is, well, Paul, I'm too busy, or I'm too technical. But Alfred here used to work 60 hours a week in the hospitals. Before the workshop, he sent a message saying, hey, Paul, I just had another milestone of making $200 in a day. By the time the workshop came around, he was making $350 per day. And this was selling other people's stuff. He didn't even sell, he didn't have his own stuff to sell. That's $127,000 per year. Now, hands up if that might take the pressure off just a little bit, right? Now, remember, if you have your own business, I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're doing. Absolutely not. But I'm telling you, why don't you add in these additional income streams where you don't have to fulfill on the product or the service? You just have the money coming in, and of course, apply these skills to your own business too. James, this guy joined really recently. He's made over 408. That's got us way out of date now. It's actually, he's made, put a 1 in front of that. Put a 1 in front of that and you're very close. He's made over $1.5 million since November 18, and his focus has been teaching children how to play football. I mean, it's just incredible. Like the things that you just defy belief, it's totally possible. And again, where people learn this is through my training, which starts on Monday, and then it finishes with a workshop, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. We have a waiting list in place, as Susanna knows. Even from the last time we were in Johannesburg, we couldn't get everybody in because the demand was so high. It was insane. It was like there was a rock concert on. It was kind of crazy, actually. So that's the first 2 things bottled up. Now, I told you I'm going to focus on those. So the next part about building the squeeze page, I have training courses on that. You can find softwares online that will help you with that. But it's technical. It's not what you need to learn today. What you need to learn the concept today. And you either buy into it and say, this is for me, or you're going to be left behind. It's as simple as that. I want to focus more so on how I can help you learn how to build these things and get people basically really, really wanting what it is that you have and lining up to purchase from you. So the big question people will have, and I'm sure you're thinking it right now, is, but Paul, how do I sell other businesses' products? I don't fully understand that. Great question. You can go to Amazon, right? Or let's say eBay, even eBay. And you go in, and when most people go in there, they're going in to browse and to buy something. But what you could do is go to the front page and scroll down to the bottom, where there will be a link to something that says either partners or affiliates. And you click on that link and it goes, oh, you want to be a partner of eBay, right? You might think you've got lost. You're not. You are now in the place where people go when they want to promote products from eBay. Imagine being able to promote anything on eBay. None of it's yours, but you can make money from anything there. The same on Amazon. It's the same process, but just people don't do it because their friends don't do it, so they get frightened of it. What I will share with you, you will save more money. You will save more money in the next year just by changing your behavior when you buy than you will invest in me today. So even before you make a penny from doing any of this, you will actually save more by just changing the way you behave when you're buying something. Hang on, I'm buying something on the internet. That means I could be making some commission on this, right? I shouldn't be just buying it normally. I should be buying it through a link that's I get paid a commission on, right? So it's just a different way of thinking. Now they'll ask you for your bank account details, and most people will freak out. They say, stranger danger, never give anybody your bank account details. That is crazy talk. If I had business cards nowadays, the only thing I would give out to people is my name and my bank details. Because what's the only thing you can do with bank details is lodge money into it. It's the only thing you can do with it. But people get frightened because everybody says, oh, don't share your bank details. Share your bank details with as many people as possible, because all they can do is lodge money in your bank account. Actually, if you want, I'll give you my bank account details and you can have your customers lodge them into my bank account. I'm an excellent receiver, right? So it's so funny that we often shut ourselves down before we even realize, oh my God, the way I think, the belief systems is really holding me back. Because people say, how do you get paid? They ask you for your bank details so they can pay you. They can pay you every week, every fortnight. They can ask you for your address if you prefer a check, right? So oftentimes it's just the obvious things that just need to be pointed out to us to realize, wow, okay, I didn't fully understand that. Now I know. So when they get my bank details, they can lodge me whatever money I'm owed based off of sales. So you can sell anything on Amazon, anything on eBay. You can sell training courses of other people. You can promote online events. You can promote products of famous experts. You can create your own if you wish. But as I said, you will save more than you'll invest today in the next year by just following this process of learning how to do this. And in today's world, you can make up to $4,000 from a single sale by getting one email address. Right? It's incredible. So the likes of Susanna is really smart around this, where she says, well, you know what, why don't I get Paul up this morning and why don't I get him talk about his stuff, because he's got something that I don't do, and likewise Susanna does things that I don't do. And you can always help grow another business by introducing people to solutions that may or may not suit them at this particular time, but at a minimum people are getting educated. So you can also start to promote products of Tony Robbins, etc., where you can make like crazy amounts of money from a single email address. And basically you get a page like this. And for those of you that join my program, I'd be delighted to welcome you to promote my stuff once you've gone through it. But you basically click on a link. They'll ask you for your details. We'll either pay you by PayPal or we'll pay you by check or by bank account. And you can then promote products and services of anybody that you're comfortable that you've been through their program themselves. So when I wake up in the morning, I have a very different view in terms of what I look at. I don't look at Facebook and see what's going on in other people's lives. I check how much money came in the last night. So, for example, here's some of the courses that we sell. Now this is in sterling. It says £236.40. Very unusual number. That's because it's £197 plus VAT. That's why it's 236.40. It's an Instagram course. So each of these here is, if you see 236.40, 236.40, each of these lines, right, every single item is, let's say $300, $300, $300, $300, $300, $300, all of these individually, right? And if we go to the next page, we have $997, $997, $997, $997, $997, $997, $19, $997, $997, $997, $997, $997, $997, $997, $997, $997. Hands up if this would put a little bit of a pep in your step in the morning, that you may not need as much caffeine if this is the first thing you're looking at, right? You never get tired of saying 997, by the way, right? And this happened all in one night by just setting up a product, selling it online, and over again, the income comes in like this, right? Now, again, if I showed you this in the first 5 minutes, you would have said, I don't understand, I don't believe it, it's not possible. But now when you realize that it's all about building a list of helping people who are looking for those solutions and then offering them to them, that is how this works, right? And I want to show you how I can support you, because the problems that you have today are not your fault. It's a representation of it's the report card of the educational system that we've been through. The thing that we're all missing is coaching, right? We've never been coached on how to run businesses successfully, rather than lecturers in college who've never had a business. We've never been coached around money from people who have it. I mean, as the product of two teachers, I know both my parents were always broke. So how can you learn to become financially independent from people who have never done that? You get coaches. In sport and in business, is the one thing that they have in common. The people that rise to the top get coached. And that is exactly what I want you guys to do, right? Is just stand on the shoulders of giants of somebody else and copy exactly what to do. Just follow the steps, step by step, right? And we'll need to focus on you, right? On you just following the shortcut. Just follow the system. Don't be left behind thinking, let me think about it. Every day you think about it, the price of ads is going to be going up. You now have this unique opportunity for the next couple of months where you've got time. In some cases, the government are covering some costs. The businesses are covering some costs for people. And you've got this short period of time where you can learn this skill, get it set up, learn the shortcut, and this is how I can offer support. So we do coaching and mentoring programs, and we do live workshops, which we have a problem with, obviously, at the moment. But I'll come back to that in a moment. By the way, I'm a huge fan of mindset, as you're probably guessing, and anybody that invests in full today, invest in full today, will get my Mindset Mastery program, which is online for $2,000, £1,497. When you decide to invest in full today, I'm going to throw that in as a bonus so that you can make sure that your mindset is set up for success in these crazy times, right? I mean, it couldn't be more important than nowadays to, even before you go near your social media businesses, make sure you're setting your mindset up for success. So a couple more success stories. This guy, Luke, said, hey, Paul, I've started with you 5 months ago. Here's the update. I earned $7,000 last week. It's going to be over $8,000 for the first time next week. Who would have thought this was possible just a few months ago? I've already paid my parents back for the loan. They think I am selling drugs. I love that testimonial because of that line, right? His parents are like, suspicious because this isn't normal. Of course it's not normal, right? The results that you have today financially are a result of what you know today. The results that you will have financially from now on are a result of what you start to learn differently from today. And that's the key thing. Luke went on to, this is a message on Facebook saying, hey, Paul, record week last week, just over $26,000. That's in a week. He says, amazing. That was exactly what he used to earn as a primary school teacher in a year. Now he was making it in a week. Then he sent an email saying, hey, brother, an update. I just made over $100,000 worth of sales in a day. Loving the journey. Suddenly the excitement has dissipated because he gets that he doesn't need to get emotional around money anymore. It's all a product of how many people do you help. And funnily enough, the reason he sent the email was he wanted to know how to put an attachment in an email. So just in case you think he's going to be really technically savvy, he didn't know how to press that attachment button. It says it in the subject line, hey brother, how do I do an email like yours? He wanted to know how to add a picture into an email. So remember, it's not about being technical, and it's not about age. This guy, 11 years of age, his dad brought him to the workshop. I thought he was about 5. He looked 5 to me. I said, sorry, this isn't a creche. The father was walking away. He said, no, this isn't just my child. This is my pension plan. I said, I don't care if it's your pension plan. You need to sit beside your pension plan. The dad put in his earbuds for 3 days. He didn't listen, the father. The young guy ended up winning the competition. He won a bottle of wine, which he sold to the person next to him. I had to stop giving away alcohol as a prize because the kids were winning all the competitions. Why? Because this stuff is child's play. As adults, we overthink everything. Oh, some of you right now are even thinking, I'm not sure. I don't think this will work for me. Somehow I will screw up the internet. And you know what? Whether you decide you will or you won't, you'll be right. If you decide today that with coaching, I can press buttons in the right order because I certainly know how to do that when I need to buy something, why can't I just do it to sell something? I can easily do that. You are absolutely correct. Because this guy is at 13 years of age. He changed my view completely on who I should be teaching. Because at 13 years of age, he came to the workshop with his dad because the babysitter cancelled. And he put up his hand. The father gave him his iPad and said, just play your games or whatever. But I could see this guy was glued to what I was doing. So he put up his hand and said, Paul, can I share something? I said, please. He said, I just made $210 in the last 11 minutes. Every adult in the room had the exact same expression on their face, which was, you little shit. How dare you prove to us that this stuff actually works, right? This is at 13 years of age. So this guy inspired me to go and set up an entire company helping children to become financially free, putting the fun into finance because it's so simple for them. They've grown up in this world. This is normal for them. This guy has a new record, 13 years of age, made $13,000 in 2 days. $13,000 at 13 years of age in 2 days, right? So the world has completely changed. It's the first ever generation that if you do what your parents did, you're going to end up broke. We have to change our approach. We have to rethink what we're doing. We either send people down this route of debt and scarcity and loans and relying on paying back loans and mortgages, or we decide, you know what, I need to rethink the system because that's guaranteed to set me into a spiral of debt and scarcity. How do I take ownership and learn the process of just generating income by helping others? And this is the company Financial Freedom. It's all animated. I've spent over $500,000 in the last 4 years getting this done. It's a home study course for children. I'm launching it over the next few weeks on a major scale because of the demand all over the world for something like this right now. The book is called Rethink Money for Children and Teens, but actually we kicked it off officially in Johannesburg. In May of last year, we ran an event to 55,000 South African teenagers. 55,000 teenagers over 4 days last May. And it was so inspiring to see the next generation in South Africa. We gave them all copies of the book, and there's such an appetite for this, right? Such an appetite to go and actually, not relive and remake the mistakes that they see around them in society. So that's part of the foundational side of what we're doing here is helping children that are less well off in different areas in the world to grasp ownership of this and make it happen for them. So of course, you've got kids at home right now, some of you. Why don't you get them to do this for you? Why don't you forget outsourcing? Why don't you focus on insourcing, right? Find the assets you have at home that are currently liabilities and get them to learn this with you so they can implement it for you, so you can have fun together and set this stuff up. And it's all about committing to making a change. No more excuses, no more looking backwards, no more I can't do this, I can't do that. It's about, hang on a second, I've got everything that I need. I'm extremely grateful for where I am right now, but I know I can do more, be more, and have more, and I shouldn't be ashamed for that. It's time that I stood up, stepped up, and made a difference. And here's your official invitation as to how you can do this from home, right, without ever leaving your house, to actually make a massive impact on your own financial situation starting today. This is your invite to come work with me directly. Now, I'm going to give you a whole series of things here, and I'm going to tell you right from the start, do not feel intimidated. I'm giving you way more than you will need. But the reason I'm giving you that is no matter how deep you go into this, and as you progress, you've got everything you need, right? So as you learn more and you become more advanced, there's going to be more trainings in there for you so that you don't need to invest in anything else beyond this from an online side, okay, in terms of learning your online business. So here is the offer for you, okay? I'm making this super clear where you know exactly what you need to do as you move forward from this. So regardless of when you're watching this, this is the most up-to-date offer. This is for Susanna's group, obviously, and I want to just update this for you, and I'm recording this straight away for you so that this is completely up-to-date and up to speed. We get started, if you're watching this, anytime before April 13th on Monday at 6:30, right? However, if you're watching this after that, or you're watching it just before that and you're not available live, no problem. You will be getting access to the recordings to get you started on that straight away, okay? So we will then have 4 more web classes that I will drip feed to you, okay, over the coming weeks and months ahead. So basically, these are you in contact with me, and I show you step by step what's next. What do you need to do? It doesn't matter that you have no experience in social media, that you don't know what products to sell, that you're not even in business, that you're not sure if you want to do any of this. I will take you through this process step by step by step, and we even pick that niche for you in that first web class if you're unsure of it yourself, right? So there's no thinking for you to do. You literally just follow the process. And of course, if you're in your own business and you want to apply this for your own business, you absolutely can. I do have some requirements that I would say make sure you have these in your business before you do that, but it's all going to be super clear in that first web class for you, okay? So that all starts, as soon as you sign up, we'll be getting you access to either the link for Monday or the recording of Monday's session. And 4 more web classes being drip fed to you then over the coming weeks that shows you exactly what to do step by step by step. Second thing you need is the workshop. Now, here's the challenge, right? We run these workshops live. We run them in the UK. We've ran some in South Africa. However, everybody's on lockdown. That doesn't mean your finances should be on lockdown. It means actually quite the opposite. You need to get access to this now when, unfortunately, it's not available to anybody. So I've been thinking about how we can do this, and I came up with a solution. Because Susanna was with me in August at the 3-day workshop, and her mind was blown with that, as was it the other 400 or 500 people that were there. What I've decided to do is give you access to the 3-day recordings. So this means you don't even have to wait. You can watch the recordings. After you've gone through the web classes and the training, you get access to the workshop, the 3 days that we did in Johannesburg in August, right? So you will have all of this, okay? And we show you step by step with as good as live, because you'll be getting you'll be in there with the crowd, with everybody else, and you'll really feel like you're part of it. And this will take you through pulling together everything that you're going to be learning in the web classes and in the access to the training you're going to have. It'll wrap it all up nicely for you. And even questions that you have, etc., we'll be talking about how you can get those questions into us in that workshop. So you will be getting access to these recordings. I mean, what a win for you there. It means you don't have to wait. You don't need to worry about uncertainty. We'll give you the certainty. We'll give you access to these so you can jump in. Number 3, if you're concerned a little bit technically about, well, how am I going to build this technical side of things? I'm not sure if I can do that. We're going to take that problem away. We're going to build that opt-in squeeze page for you, right? So you don't need a web designer or any of that. That's a value conservatively of 9,500 Rand. We'll take care of that. So don't worry about the technical side of things. That's not what determines your success or not in this. It's not about being technical. It's just about being committed. It's just about pressing buttons and following them in the right order. Number 4, this is the thing I am most proud of with our Rethink Academy business. It is the customer satisfaction ratings that we get from our clients. We've had over a 98% customer satisfaction rating consistently. Now, our average client is over 52 years of age, right? So most of them don't have even Facebook before they start, right? So don't question or don't doubt yourself, right? If this is a step-by-step guide, it assumes you do nothing. If you're already in business, that's fine too, right? You can apply everything we're teaching to your business, but you do not need products. You do not need services. You do not need to have a business. We take everybody from assuming you've got nothing and we'll build the whole thing together for you. And we'll give you all the support you need. All these my help team have been through the program themselves as well. So this is worth conservatively 38,000 Rand. Now, the reason why the numbers are weird in terms of value is because they've been translated directly from UK sterling to Rand, okay? Number 5 is the training, the membership site training itself. It's all online. It's all conveniently provided to you through a membership site. I don't give out CDs and DVDs anymore because, I want you to get all of the updates, and you have lifetime access to the training that you will be given access to here from as soon as you sign up to here, right? So Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, how to rank your videos on the front page of YouTube or Google, right? How to blog without writing any content, how to send emails, build lists, how to not, even if you don't want to write the emails, how can you get emails sent out? What products to pick, how to choose the best products and the best solutions that are out there. And most importantly, I'm also providing a bonus of an outsourcing training that will show you how to find people do this for you. So you're not creating a new job for yourself, but you learn it and then you can hand it over and have somebody else do that at a fraction of the price. Now, very conservatively within what's in the membership site, because there's lots of other things in there too I won't talk about today, just bonuses, that's a total value of over 200,000 Rand alone with that. Number 6 is Facebook and Twitter ads training, which I explained to you earlier with Susanna, which is online for over 75,000 Rand. I'm going to include this in the membership site, right? So if you're a little bit more advanced, you can jump into this and move forward faster with your business if you feel you're at that stage. But if you're brand new, starting from scratch, doesn't matter. We will tell you when to do this, when to follow this step by step in the web classes. So this is a huge benefit to you because you're getting this completely free included in the membership site, and it's 75,000 Rand online. Now, the next thing is today we're doing this webinar, me and Susanna together, and you might think, and maybe of interest, you go, well, how can I? You can see how she's leveraging me, how she's doing the matchmaking. It makes total sense, right? Now, this is one of the quickest ways to make serious bucks online, where literally you can start to make tens, 20s, hundreds of thousands in an hour, in 2 hours by learning how to get information in front of your audience, right? So this isn't something that I was teaching or had a program around. But a client of mine who did a webinar and he asked me to review it, he made one sale, he made $600. He was quite excited about that. But when I watched it, I said, well, you could do so much better. So I gave him a call and gave him personal training on how to do this. And the results were outstanding. He reached out to me and said that in the next webinar, he made $300,000 and another $500,000 in 90 minutes and $100,000 in 90 minutes. And he says, I tell everyone about the chat you gave me and how I went from making one sale on a webinar to 100K the next day. You changed my life, man. Other than that, business is great. So this is like the numbers we're talking about here is $900,000 in 6 hours. The vast majority of society live with this dream of winning the lottery. In Singapore, on average, people spend $4,000 a year on lottery tickets. In the UK, it's $1,000 in the year. I'm not sure exactly what it is in South Africa, but let's say it's even $500 a year. That's a lot of money hoping your only strategy to kind of win the jackpot, win the lottery. And then what happens to most people, of course, is they lose it, they misspend it because they don't feel they deserved it, and they don't have plans in place with what happens when the dream actually comes in. But why don't we just create a goal and build a plan towards becoming financially free? Why don't we actually put a process in place that has nothing to do with hope? The difference between a dream and a goal is a plan. Let's make that dream real by turning it into a goal, and let's put a plan in place together, because that's what I'm here to do, is to give you that plan and to give you those tools that you need. So there's no reliance on anybody else. There's no uncertainty in the madness that's around us. That the certainty that you have is the confidence that you're learning how to sell anything to anybody, anywhere in the world at any time, right? That is the power of what you're going to be learning here. So you cannot see how this won't work, because all you're learning how to do is give people what they want. Give them the best-selling products. You don't have to have your own. Build this out so that down the road you can sell your own, you can sell somebody else's, and it doesn't matter whether you decide to retire and sell the business or whether you want to continue doing it, because it's an endless supply of multiple streams of income. You start with one niche, then you can add a second niche, you can add a third niche, you can do as many as you wish, and most beautifully of all is you can get other people to do it. You can get other people to do it for you. Now, I ended up taking this training, the webinar training, creating one around what I advised Nick, the student, and I had planned on selling it, but what I actually did, and I mean, what's the total value of that? Like, it's just incredible if you think about this. Now, what I ended up doing was showing people how they could take their own knowledge and present it on a webinar and make a sale, and show people how to create the presentation. We even give them the slides that they need, and it's everything they need. But also, if you're nervous and you don't want to do it, it also shows you how you can partner with another business. And imagine in the current environment, this could be the savior of other businesses, where you can say, look, you have a database. I can show you how to present what you do to your database. All I want is 50% of it, right? And you will literally have step-by-step, this shows you how to do this. It's not available anywhere online. This is going to be included with this program, though, in the membership site, to make sure you can, again, this will like superpower the speed at which you grow your income. Number 8 is we're also going to provide you with some one-to-one support. I'm going to do some personal webinars to handle any questions that you have. Once you've gone through the trainings and the recordings of the workshops, we will do some one-to-one coaching calls with me and one of my top coaches to make sure that any questions you have are answered. We'll show you how to make up to $4,000 in a sale. We'll make sure that you're supported fully in that environment, and that we hold your hand through the process. So any questions, any steps, not just are handled by the help center, but you'll also be having me and some of my top coaches help you answer all of the questions that you may have. Number 9, for any of you out there with children or nephews and nieces, just like we just spoke about with Salman, I'm going to be running a online training for 3.5 hours. And it's going to be for you, but also for your teens and kids in your life, where we will show them how step-by-step to set up an online training, how they can start making money from home, how they can pay for their own pocket money so you don't have to, how they can become smart financially, how they can secure your future family income. It's recorded, so you can watch it. As soon as you sign up, you'll be able to watch the recording of this. You can share it with your other family members. But the thing with this is this sets a generation up for a completely different way of thinking, right? This is going to set them up for success forever. It's like, it's priceless, giving them this opportunity, right? So, and it's fun, and we're going to be showing them through all animated slides, etc. Now, I'm talking about a super conservative value here of 18,000 Rand, because, you know, we're talking about changing a generation. Now, for a moment, you could almost forget about outsourcing. Why don't you go and look for insourcing? Why don't you have your kids and teens do this for you, right? Like I mentioned already, because this is easy for them. So you can easily get them to do this for you and follow the program with you also. So you're getting the call on Monday, which will either be live for you or recorded, then 4 more drip fed to you over the coming weeks. The recordings of the Johannesburg Live Workshop, which was 114,000 online for my 3-day ticket, so you can check it out online. The opt-in page done for you, access to the help center, VIP access to and login details to the membership site where all of the training is going to be, the Facebook and Twitter advertising training. We're also going to be providing the coaching calls that I mentioned, where you know, I'll be on there with our coaches to answer any questions that you have, and the webinar wizardry training. That's a total value of 625,000 Rand. Now, I know you're not going to pay that, and I wouldn't either, right? For me, the total value, and I remember when I sat in that audience in Dublin in 2009, one speaker said total value was 2 million euros. And I remember thinking, well, why don't you just sell one and retire if that's the case? For me, the total value is what people have invested in the exact same program. And when this was launched in the UK, this is what people got the workshop for. It was 142,447 Rand plus 20% VAT plus a monthly fee of 1,900 per month plus VAT to get access to the help center. So that is what this was sold for in the UK, just to give you a reality check of where this was. Now, my thing for you is this. This works for absolutely everybody, and I want to make this a no-brainer. I want you in this times of scarcity, of people being scared and of people being so uncertain, to give you something that will not just give you hope, but give you a practical plan of what you can do, not just for the next few weeks or few months, but for years ahead, that you have this that will create and generate multiple streams of income for you and your family forever. So for Susanna's Tribe only, I'm going to do an amazing discount for you today, right? It's not going to be 20% off. It's not going to be 40% off, not even 60% off, which would bring it down under 60,000 Rand, right? My initial suggestion to Susanna is this: 14,997 Rand for you to sign up, okay? And this is going to be available to you where you can get this for 14,997. And this is in full exposure. When we started promoting the August workshop, people were able to get it for 14,997. Now, however, Susanna has twisted my arm. She has made me make installment plans available for people. But if you pay in full, and this is the key thing, you will get my Mindset Mastery completely for free. Okay, if you pay in full, you're going to get my Mindset Mastery completely for free, and I'm going to add in an added bonus in a moment. Okay, here is the link that you need to go to now. And if you go right now, you will not just pay 14,997. You will get this for 9,997. Right? You go to bit.ly/rethink Susanna. bit.ly/rethink Susanna. Okay, please make a note of this, right? Please make a note of this immediately. bit.ly/rethink Susanna. Now, if you go and you get in now and you pay in full, not only am I going to give you the Mindset Mastery for free, I'm going to give you an incredible bonus, right? This is if you get in right now and you pay in full to bit.ly/rethink Susanna. So this is what it looks like. Okay, this is what you're going to see. You'll have your two options. The pay in full option is highlighted, and I'll tell you why that is the one I would go for if I was you. And we can see it's working here because I'm just recording this session here now. We can see the sales are coming through perfect. Okay, the first option, 9,997, or you can pay 3,997 in 3 installments. Okay, so no excuse. You know, if you've got to do that first, the installment one, fair enough. But if you pay in full, I'm going to also include, okay, if you go right now to Rethink Susanna, a one-to-one with me. So once you've completed the workshop, once we've gone through the trainings with you, you will get a personal one-to-one call with me. Now, this is exclusively because of it. This is with Susanna, right? I've become great friends with Susanna over the last few months. So, and I know she's really has an amazing message to share. And as she said, you know, it's my social media training that's helped her set up a Thrive group, has helped her start to appear on social media a lot more, get her Facebook Lives going, her Instagram Lives going, etc. And why you've been able to access me today. So, you know, we can propel you into this whole new stratosphere. Or if you're afraid about being you can do it for a brand, as I mentioned earlier. But if you pay in full right now, okay, and you get it for 9,997 as part of Susanna's Tribe, you will also get a call with me that will show you how to set up when we talk about in the first web class, completely free. Bonus 2, right? If you get in right now through Susanna's link, we are going to extend your support for an entire year. You've got 12 months of support. Okay, so bit.ly/rethink Susanna. Now I'm guessing, right, but right now you could be struggling to get in. Now it could be because as you're watching this, there may be lots of other people trying to get in at the same time. That is what happened the first time, but bear with us and just check a couple of things. Maybe you don't have the double HTTP : it's double slash, right? And it's bit.ly. That's an L, not a 1. bit.ly/rethink Susanna, all lowercase, for an entire year of support. Bonus 3. I am going to allow you to bring a family member or a business partner, watch all of this training with you. So this is a complete no-brainer. This is so you've got a second person doing everything with you to help you through the process. So you've got the two of you working together and going through this together, so you can have fun with somebody else on it. They can watch the 3-day recordings with you, right? So complimentary access for your business partner. They can log in with your details and watch everything that you do too, so both of you can do this together. That's insane, because basically it's a 2-for-1 that you're getting here, okay? And once you click in, this is what you're going to see. Choose that first option and you'll be able to get the bonuses of getting the one-to-one with me directly, the Mindset Mastery. And now bonus 4 is this: how Jake made over $20,000 in an hour with Instagram. So if Instagram is your thing, we'll be showing you how you can use that to make money from Instagram. Bonus number 5. Now remember, at this point, in case your brain is about to explode and you're like, oh my God, there's too much. Don't think of it that way, right? I want to give you, why would I give you less when I can give you more, right? We will be drip feeding this to you. As I said, you don't need all of this, but I'm going to give it to you anyway, so you know it's sitting there so that you can access it forever. And these are given to you for free as bonuses. You have it when you decide down the road, if you want to go and watch some of these trainings, you can, right? They're bonuses, they're free. I want to give them to you so you never need to spend any more money or invest any more money in learning how to create an online business. You have it all, it's all there, it's all yours, right? So don't feel intimidated, feel the opposite, feel empowered. You're going to be given everything and more than what you need, okay? So bonus 5 is if you are interested in Facebook Messenger. I'll show you how Vishal has made over $55,000 in just 3 hours, right? So this is all part of the same offer, where when you go to bit.ly/Rethink Susanna, you're going to get all of this, provided that you're getting in now, okay? The 6th bonus, and I'm going to stop bonuses in a moment, right? I just want to again, as I said, I make this a no-brainer. I told you get my Mindset Mastery Vault for free when you invest in full. What I didn't tell you is that this also includes an interview that I did with John DeMartini and with John Assaraf, 2 of the world's leading experts on mindset and psychology. And, you know, this is a really important time to get clear and clarity on your goals, your focus, rather than feeling scared and frightened, that you're ready to expand and grow, and that you're ready to make an impact to others and also help grow your bank account at the same time, right? And again, this is what you're going to see when you get in there. And, you know, I would strongly suggest, if you can, go for that first option, so you get all the Mindset Mastery for free. You get the one-to-one with me for free also. Bonus 7, I'm going to make this a no-brainer for you. I'm going to take the risk away from you completely. Firstly, if you decide that you're going to take this step today, which I hope you have at this point, right? I'm going to give you a 100% money back guarantee. I'm sure you know at least 2 people who would benefit from this program, right? Now, I will talk to you on the web class, the first web class, about how if you recommend just 2 people to us, right, and we'll do the selling for you, my sales team will do it for you, they won't get it at the price you get today, right? You're getting a crazy price because of Susanna, you're getting it half off, but they will get it for $19,997. We'll make the sale, and just 2 of those sales, right, 2 of those sales that we make for you, you will get all of your money back. You will get your investment back that you make today. Now, why would I even do that? Because I want to reward you for matchmaking. I want you to learn that it is so important to let other people make money for you, right? So I'll show you how to do this. It's the quickest way that you make your investment back. It's super easy. There's no time limit on this. You can do this for any amount of time into the future and get all of your investment back at the same time. So what a no-brainer for you there, right? As Warren Buffett says, investing in yourself is the most important investment you'll ever make in your life. How many of you can afford a cup of coffee, or have 1 less cup of coffee a day for a year to pay for this program, right? That's what we're talking about, to learn how to be financially free for life. 27 Rand a day. That's what that works out for the 2 of you across a year, right? 27 Rand per day. What? Where else are you going to use that money to learn how to become financially independent, right? You can see I am so into this because I was the skeptic on the sidelines. I was the internet is a scam. This can't be right. I'm going down the route of more exams, more qualifications, and all I realized was I was going deeper and deeper into debt, right? And I totally get that it's your friends and family that you trust the most, and a stranger like me you're not so sure about. But look at the results that they have financially. Is that what you want in your life? Or do you want to just choose something different? Because the results that you have right now are a direct result of what you currently know. The results that you want to get in the future are a result of what you start to learn from today. So please, I plead to you, if this in any way resonates, that you feel like this is the right thing for you, why not do it, right? Why not learn this? What's the worst that could happen? You have an education to show you or your friend or your business partner, family member, how to become financially independent and sell anything at any time, anywhere across the world, no matter what's going on in the economy, right? And as you are a business owner or about to become one, this would be a write-off against your company. It would be an expense of your business. So, okay, so here we have everything on one convenient slide for you. So you can see everything that comes as part of this. It's in or around 700,000 Rand worth of value. You're going to be getting everything that we have. Please use that link, okay, bit.ly/rethink Susanna. That's what's going to get you in there. I hope you enjoyed this training, right? And regardless of what you decide to do, right, at a minimum, you need to start rethinking how we're currently programmed in terms of where we're going in life financially, right? That's at a minimum, right? Next step up would be just start doing something, right? Start doing something. Start at least implementing and doing some of what I talked about today. But if you want to get the fast track, if you want to make this easy on yourself, if you don't want to waste time learning this stuff, you know, get on board, right? I'd love to help you. I'd love to support you on this journey. You're going to love it. And not just, I mean, from a financial side, you're going to love it from the impact that you can make, the amount of people that you can help. And eventually, if you want to even get your own message and share it out there, you absolutely can. If you want to do what I did and use it to help change the next generation and start with 55,000 teenagers in Johannesburg, right? All of that was from initially learning, how do I get a message out there? How do I use social media? How do I use the internet? And then the question becomes, well, how can I help the next generation become empowered? I want you to be to the forefront of helping me do that. I'm really excited about getting you on board. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you so much, Susanna, for having me on. And I really look forward to sharing this journey with you and sharing your success story in the coming months on a stage, hopefully in the future, in somewhere near you. Thank you so much. Take care and have a wonderful day.